Think about it. Every hiring decision is a choice that can make or break a team, a culture, and even an entire company. So how do we make the right choice? Hi, I'm Dr. Mickey, and welcome to Inside the Mind of Hiring. Here we'll uncover the psychology and strategy behind effective hiring. Because the right fit isn't just about skill or experience. It's about understanding people, their motivations, their strengths, and the shadows of their shortcomings. Together, we'll tackle the tough questions. How do we look beyond bias? How do we find the qualities that make people not just qualified hires, but the right hires? This is about identifying leaders who drive success, lift morale, and actualize a company's vision. Inside the Mind of Hiring starts now.
Hey, everybody, I'm Dr. Pat, and got a little bit of stuff going on here today, but it's all good. Part of the world we live in is the world where we are right on top of technology. We're right on top of changes. We're right on top of what some people call new narratives, new paradigm, especially in the world of hiring and retaining. And if you're anything like we were as recruiters and people working for AT&T, we understand the cost of our decisions, whether they're good, they're bad, or indifferent. Today, this show, Inside the Mind of Hiring with Dr. Mickey Fineberg, is all about 2026. And some people have said 2026, the year of the mega fix. Now, I'm not saying that because you do not ever want to have to go through rehiring. So today, Dr. Mickey, what we're talking about is what people really need to know. I mean, hiring someone, one, is very expensive. Two, especially at the top levels, time consuming and affects so many people. So today, what you did is you laid this down for us. What are some of the characteristics? You work with companies. This is what you do. You help them get the right people. So what are the characteristics everybody should know about for 2026?
Well, thanks, Dr. Pat. I appreciate the introduction, the cogent introduction. It's an exciting time and very challenging for both hiring managers and job seekers these days. And hiring, I said in the last episode, I'm going to get into these characteristics that hiring managers are prioritizing for 2026 and likely beyond for numerous more years. But they are being more selective now, hiring managers are. And they're really trying to recruit, and this is not a cliche, people for all seasons or truly well-rounded individuals. I mean, for all seasons or truly well-rounded people. So for hiring managers who want to achieve competitive advantage and job seekers who want to get ahead or rise above the crowd, this episode is probably for you. Now getting to Dr. Pat's question, these are the broad characteristics that companies are looking for right now. They're looking for adaptability in a tech and AI heavy environment, advanced, and I do emphasize advanced people and communication skills. This is not to be taken lightly. And they're also looking for the ability to drive outcomes or results in uncertain situations or conditions. That's what they're looking for in a broad sense. I'm going to break that down for everybody a little bit. But Pat, Dr. Pat, do you have a reaction to any of that before I go?
My reaction to it is now let's accelerate the issue if we could. Because if we were kind of just moping along as we traditionally do, mope along, and I don't even know where my phone is, mope along. That was a recruiter offering me a job right there. I apologize to the audience. We have had our internet up and down and sideways. And so, unlike me, I've had to have my phone on. But here's what I want to say. If this were like different, you know what we are like? We're like when they discovered the steam engine. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're in a transition now that we have not quite been in. And you know what I mean because you've done
Sure.
AI. So everything you're talking about has to be put in the context of what companies are now facing. I don't even want to call it the changing landscape because I don't think people understand what's going on.
Well, that's a little broad, but let's break this down. Um, the reality is they need a better steam engine. So organizations are operating in a much faster changing market situation. Markets are changing much more rapidly than they ever have. Um, and they're changing with ongoing digital and AI driven transformation. And organizations need people who can pivot quickly and stay effective through uncertainty. Executives and managers are expected to reconfigure strategies, organization structures, and teams as conditions change. They're just not required just to do or execute a strategic plan. They got to change it pretty quickly. For professionals, this means that professionals have to be really on top of their game in terms of their willingness to learn new skills. They call it reskilling. Um, they have to be able to take on adjacent responsibilities, or adjacent responsibility is our tasks that are not your primary role, but related either directly or indirectly to your primary role. There's no such thing as it's not my job anymore. Can't complain about that. And professionals are expected, like managers and executives as well, to move between projects as priorities quickly change. They can't get stuck or unnerved when people say, you got to do this now, because this is what's more important. For senior leaders, it includes comfort with ambiguity, scenario thinking. Scenario thinking is imagining multiple plausible futures as opposed to just one right future. And they got to keep people engaged and productive during frequent change. Now, this is what we mean. I'm going to break down advanced communication skills or advanced people skills. Companies need managers who can explain goals clearly. People need to understand the goals. Managers need to be able to give and take feedback and listen well in hybrid or cross-functional settings. You've heard me talk about navigating cross-functional settings as well. Strong relationship building is essential to high-performing teams, engagement, or maximizing people's engagement and retention. This extends to influencing across the enterprise, aligning diverse stakeholders with diverse attitudes and skills and abilities, and representing their organizations with credibility. Emotional intelligence, empathy, and the ability to navigate conflict are now emphasized as critical soft skills, not nice to haves anymore. Not nice to haves. You got to be pretty people savvy these days. Not just the green-eyed eye shade person that sits in the back office and crunches numbers. That's more the exception rather than the rule about what companies are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't this make it? I mean, when we're talking about these things, Dr. Mickey, it requires, we're asking candidates to change, right? But we're also asking management teams and companies to change. And I mean, this is a whole new job for you. This is like new job security for you because, most of the time we're focused on going through assessments. And yet we're talking about a level of change that top leaders, C-suite people haven't even wrapped their mind around. And
Right.
so everything you're talking about is a mirror of what the company's leadership team needs to become too, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You know, connected with these people skills as and characteristics such as integrity, you can't take that for granted. It's doing what you say you're going to do. Accountability, meeting expectations on a consistent basis. And these relate to building trust, because trust in and of itself is really important commodity for people to be able to establish and sustain. Um, People have to own. We talked about taking ownership in the last episode or before that, right? One before that. People have to own their decisions and the outcomes that happen. They can't. They can't distance themselves from mistakes
Yeah.
and failures.
Yeah.
Can't do
Listen,
it.
let me jump in here because I remember people don't know this, but I am also a consultant, but I'm not practicing like you. I don't have the
Right.
courage that you have to do
Right.
that work
Of
anymore.
course.
I really don't. I really don't. But once upon a time when I did, I had just finished my dissertation where actually, I don't know if you even know this, no one had defined integrity empirically, and I did.
Right.
But I didn't need to because shortly thereafter, I was handed a book. And I'm telling you, this is the book that every C suite needs to get. It's called The Four Agreements. And I will guarantee you that those four agreements, in a nutshell, say what you're saying. Be impeccable with your word. I mean,
Absolutely.
this is so hard though. I mean, I'm a
It is hard.
C-suite and I'm having a difficult time even doing that to my own team.
Right. 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 And this also relates to trust. People have to be consistent. People have to be fair. People have to model ethical behavior. People have to hold their organizations accountable for their commitments, believe it or not, and challenge faulty or outdated assumptions. Um, People are going to be effective to the extent that they're going to willing to call out the elephants in the room, Dr. Pat. And but it's not that it's not that you have to do it in a snarky, sarcastic, um, and inappropriate way. You do it with a positive and constructive attitude, but you got to call out these elephants in the room, these faulty assumptions that the organization is being accountable to itself, and when it's not, you got to be able to say those things. It's very, very critical these days. If you want to stay competitive, and organizations really want to be competitive, and a lot of organizations really do want to be changed from the ground up. So, they want all the people in the organization to act like leaders or to act like owners, like we talked about previously.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I can assess for this stuff. So if they send you to me to be assessed, I have to question my own standards now
Yeah.
about because organizations, I really believe, want this. So, I can get them to be more selective in order um, to be congruent with what they really want. I can't let them back down from their own needs. Okay. And I'm not going to do that. So some more elements of strategic and critical thinking, which is what organizations desire, is they want people to be able to diagnose complex problems. Hello? And weigh trade-offs or balance trade-offs and make data-driven decisions independently without or versus escalating every problem upward. They want people to, it's like, yeah, it does sound like taking ownership, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, part of this too is this is a model, Dr. Mickey. And, whenever I've had to present on this from my research, and I come out of the gate about career, I give them one thing. I say one thing. I say the bottom line is, as managers and C-suite people, they're managers too. And they forget that, Dr. Mickey,
Right.
right? So
Yep.
what would you say about this? What's your comment on this? And how do you assess for this? When employees expect those people to partner with them to ensure their career success and good performance, to ensure job autonomy, participation, foster collaboration relationships in a respectful and positive work environment.
Yeah.
That research is from 2001, and we haven't gotten that thing yet.
Yeah,
So, what we're saying is everybody needs to power up on this for 2026.
it's true. It's not just the leaders of the organization. It's the managers. It's the professionals. It's the other individual contributors. They all have to bring it. And if an organization is going to be successful, they have to go out and select these people for all seasons people, especially in this fast changing digital and AI platform tools environment. Okay. And they got to meet their own criteria. They got to meet their own criteria. And as an assessor, what it tells me is I got to be a little tougher. I got to be tougher. I can't be acquiescent on individual trade-offs. You either have this multitude of skills, or you don't. And the people that don't are going to miss out. Unfortunately, they'll sneak in, but by and large, they're either going to miss out or they're not going to be able to sustain their tenures with companies that are really demanding this.
Yes, I got a challenge for you, Dr. Mickey, because this is right up your alley. And you and I have talked about this offline, but now I'm going to just tell you it is time for a Dr. Mickey, a new Dr. Mickey assessment. And what I mean about that is, you see, you're bringing and shining a light on things that need to be done for companies to be successful. However, we have to develop new tools, don't you think?
Yes.
I'm going to give you 6 months to do it, Dr. Mickey. And the reason I say this is because you are in a responsible, seriously important situation. You see, I run a company, but I don't have as much at risk as you do, right? When you work
Oh,
with a
yeah.
company, you are bringing people in at the top of the level. And you're Dr. Mickey. And when Dr. Mickey speaks, everybody goes quiet and then they do what you say.
Well, we hope. Dr.
I
Mickey
didn't want to
hopes.
bring that up.
Well,
I didn't want to bring that up.
like
It's heartbreaking. It's
I don't
heartbreaking.
have an imposter complex, but
It's heartbreaking though for to sit where you sit and see what's going on, because you have been doing this and want companies to be successful. You have shared stories, you have brought things on. But let's bring
absolutely
this three circle with this. We have a bottom line that we got to power up on our 2026 hiring, the end of the story.
right, right. Well, yeah,
That's me talking now.
right.
Just
No,
saying.
no,
Just
no.
saying, Dr. Mickey.
It's what I'm learning in this new environment is I have to be more challenging, and I have to be tougher with my clients, my valuable clients, or my new clients. I have to be really careful about not telling them what they want to hear. I have to be really careful about telling them what they really need to hear about candidates that are looking for. I have to hold them to their own standard of hiring. And at the same time, I have to encourage job seekers, people that want to join these companies, to set a higher standard for themselves. Um, you just can't be sitting in the background anymore socially. Sure, it'll make you tired at the end of the day to exert stronger social skills, but those are things that you have to cultivate. There's a lot of technicians out there. They become they're like a dime a dozen, but the people that can really engage people and influence them and resolve issues with other people and negotiate problems into effective, mutually beneficial solutions are the kind of employees that companies want and deserve, especially in this fast moving, fast paced, changing, market changing environment. You got to set a higher standard. So, when it comes to AI, by the way, I want to focus on AI and digital fluency for a second here. Um, you need fluency in working with digital and AI tools and platforms. You got to know how to drive the cars. That's what you have to know how to do. So considering it a beautiful, lovely, high speed, beautifully handling sports car that you got to be able to drive. And that's critical. So even if you're not a technical specialist, you got to be able to use the tools. Let's face it. And particularly, when you think about executives, they have to understand how AI and automation can reshape their business models and their workforce strategies that go along with that. So you got to be with it with AI. You can't be behind that eight ball. You don't have to develop it. You just have to, in a sense, you just have to know how to use it and influence how you can use it and how you can, these tools can be, increase in their capacity to help you use them effectively.
Yeah,
So,
but Mickey, Dr. Mickey, don't you also think you got to keep some of the old the baseline staples in the forefront? So, but the bottom line with this is to when it doesn't matter what you do or what you look at, people still want some of these staples. I mean, and I'll just tell you, I'm just going to read you from some of these results. They want a program that encourages employees to develop their career. They want help doing it. They want lateral assignments. They want new skills. They want you to promote your accomplishment to peers. So in addition to that, they still want these hiring managers to demonstrate in the interview that they still care.
right, hiring managers.
Yeah, still care.
Oh, you mean hiring managers can't be sort of like laissez-faire about it?
No. And especially with the new studies that have come out about
Right,
Generation X, Y, Z, all the generations.
right, right, right. No, yeah, I think hiring managers have to be definitive and about their expectations and about what their company's cultures are all about. And they have to be definitive about what they want, and then they have to shut up and ask the right questions in order to find out whether the candidate is going to maybe bring that stuff.
Yeah.
And they just gotta, uh, be nice, but get under these candidates' skin and find out what they're really about and what they're really made of. That's what hiring managers really have to do.
Mm.
And prospective employees or job seekers, we talked about it before, have to bring the best versions of themselves. If you have no experience, if you have no experience um, uh, saying or holding your organization accountable for their commitments, well, just say that that's what you're willing to do and be convincing about it. You know, you can say that's part of your philosophy, part of your rubric of capabilities, and you're going to bring them to the organization. And you're going to speak up when you see elephants in the room, like faulty assumptions or outdated beliefs, and you're going to attack them, but in a positive and constructive way, and exhibit some excitability about it, some emotion about, put some emotion behind your words without overdoing it. You know, so yeah, hiring managers have to be excited. They have to be, if they're not going to be excited about their organizations that they're recruiting into, how do you expect your candidates to feel? You can't be nonplussed about it. Um, but you can't be nonplussed about, asking the right questions and getting underneath that candidate's skin and what they're all about. Just like I can't be uh, uh, sloppy in terms of assessing people and maybe explaining away their faults when I really have to hold them accountable for their faults, as well as hold them accountable for the great stuff that they bring.
Yeah.
It's okay with me to get excited about people, and I do. But what I can't diminish are the potential problems or the potential issues. They have to be brought into the sunlight for companies, and so that companies can keep pace
Mm.
with this rapidly changing and challenging environment that we're all in right now.
So, Dr. Mickey, make sure everyone knows how they can find out more about you, especially if they have questions on this. and, or want to put your name in front of their bosses, what is the best way for them to do that?
Oh, look, just email me. Email me, Mickey, Mickey, at deltaconsultants.com. Or if you want to be roundabout about it, then look me up, look up my website, deltaconsultants.com, or check me out on LinkedIn. I have a lot to say on LinkedIn. So you can look me up on LinkedIn. That's Dr. Mickey Fineberg, Fineberg. Look me up on LinkedIn. Other than that, just be direct about it. Just email me for better or for worse, and I'm sure you'll at least have an interesting conversation with me for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Dr. Mickey, thank you. I want to leave everybody with this. This quote comes from a participant in my research who was part of a Chapter 13 major retail store going out of business crazy. And this is what she said when I asked her about integrity. We don't cut corners. We don't sell seconds. We don't advertise fraudulently. We are going to do everything above board in compliance with the rules and regulations. We will treat each other with respect and high regard, and every interaction should be that of that nature. Everything and everyone will be treated in the same way. Address issues immediately and truthfully and honestly, and make sure everything is clearly communicated and clearly demonstrated. And this is from a woman with a tenured career who is just about to lose her job. So all y'all think about that. And if you like that clip, pass it on to your boss and then hire Dr. Mickey. We'll see you next time.
I like it, Dr. Pat. Thank you so much for that. That
You
was
bet.
beautiful food. You have been listening to Inside the Mind of me, Dr. Mickey Fineberg. Tune in the first and third Tuesday at 11 on Transformation Talk Radio to discover the psychology of making successful hiring decisions. In each episode, hiring managers and HR pros will learn how to leverage assessments and other key screening sources and avoid common pitfalls. Job seekers will gain insight into successfully presenting themselves. For more information on assessing people for mission-critical jobs and on career assessment and coaching, visit deltaconsultants.com and my LinkedIn profile. If you'd like to write me personally, it's Mickey, Mickey, at deltaconsultants.com.